I've been seeing the Netherlands in the news a lot lately. I hear that they're passing some pretty satanic laws over there. So let's watch this video and see if he gets into it.
Something really weird is happening in the Netherlands. People are leaving. And they're leaving at scale. And it's not just the ultra wealthy, but regular families and young professionals. But why? Why are people suddenly packing up their bags and leaving one of Western Europe's most developed nations? And where on earth are they going? I wanted to investigate what's going on in Europe's most developed nations. And where on
They going to Nashville, Tennessee, or no, that's Memphis. We got Memphis and Alabama. That's where they going. I'm sure.
earth are they going? I wanted to investigate what's going on here. And to get the answers, we need to rewind the clock back in time to where it all began. Now, in the 1960s, the Netherlands was seen as a land of stability and opportunity. Many families built their lives here, drawn by strong wages, affordable housing, and the promise of long-term security. Back then, homes were affordable, jobs were stable, and the average income was enough to support a household. To put that into perspective, the decades following the post-war boom, Dutch house prices typically sat between 4 to 5 times the average annual income. Home ownership wasn't some distant dream you had to hustle for. It was a normal part of life. Upward mobility felt realistic. If you studied, worked hard, and stayed financially disciplined, you can reasonably expect to buy a home and a stable future.
All right, boys, it seems like we're getting hit with another home crisis, as if with a lot of my videos is all over the world, no longer able to afford a house or afford anything really, or even find a job.
Then came the 1970s. During this period, the Netherlands built between 1,200 to 150,000 new homes every year. Demand was lower, population was smaller, and land was more readily available. The system, for the most part, was still in balance. But over time, this was about to change. The Netherlands is still one of the most densely populated countries on Earth, with more people per square kilometre than Japan, India, or the UK. And even small increases in population place immediate pressure on housing, public transport, and land use. In the 1990s, the country grew by roughly 60,000 people per year, which was manageable, but the early signs of strain began to emerge as demand slowly started to outpace supply. Population growth accelerated drastically. Driven by the EU expansion, the Netherlands added over 200,000 people in a single year, roughly 3 to 4 times the pace seen in the 1990s. But the housing supply still hasn't kept up. Today, a typical Dutch home costs
I wonder where those 200,000 people came from. I wonder.
around 11 to 12 times the median salary, more than double the burden faced by the previous generations. So it shouldn't surprise you that more than 40% of young adults still live with their parents, largely driven by the fact they can't afford a home. Teachers, nurses, and police officers are unable to live in the communities they serve. In cities like Groningen and Amsterdam, students face housing lotteries with hundreds of applicants competing for a single room. Across the country, rising prices are forcing families into satellite towns.
Yeah, when I lived in Europe, I lived in the Czech Republic, Prague. Dude, like you can't get housing. It's almost impossible, especially for students. All the dorms are all booked up. These people, like, there's nowhere you can go to live, pretty much. I can't believe I got housing when I was there. I was so lucky.
Lengthening commutes and putting additional strain onto public transport. And what was once a system defined by stability is now defined by scarcity. And to illustrate the story better, I'm going to introduce 3 fictitious characters. And the first character in the story is...
And real quick too, that I noticed is, like, the country I was in, like, there's no economy. Like, people are there, and everyone I met, they're either a student studying, or they might work in IT if they're Indian, go figure. Or they might teach English if they're a foreigner. But like, that's it. Every young person I met, what do you do? Oh, I'm a student. I'm like, are there any actual jobs in this country? But it's like that all over the world. I feel like there's no real jobs anymore, especially with AI taking out all the fake jobs. And now the only real jobs are the blue collar working jobs where you actually build infrastructure.
San. San started her nursing career in 1993, and back then, this was a hopeful era. Although she worked long shifts, She felt like her efforts would actually pay off, that she could build a future not only for herself but for her family. But even in the midst of growth, the early signs of strain were emerging. Housing prices increased sharply between 1995 and 2000, and as credit became cheaper and demand steadily increased, affordability started to erode. Now, on the surface, things look stable, but this would create a fragile foundation that would start to crack.
My client wanted a refund because my soulmate sketch made her
They
cry.
show us an AI.
Then came the 2008 financial crisis, which shattered the Dutch financial system like an earthquake. And between the years of 2000 and 2020, her income grew by only 3 to 5%, whilst housing prices rose by almost 120%. Her children, now in their 20s, couldn't even afford to buy a home. The average age for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, I guess that didn't just hit America. The 2008 housing crisis and that whole thing in '08, dude, things have not been the same since. People getting approved for houses with money they don't even have.
Rose up to around 35, from just 25 in the 1970s. Post-COVID, a new trend emerged: remote work and online businesses untethered income from geography. And that brings me to the second character in the story, Dan. Now, Dan is a 28-year-old software engineer earning 6,000 euros per month. But instead of working full-time in Amsterdam, where he faces
Making 6,000 euros per month, that's pretty good.
rising living costs and housing pressure, he spends much of his time working remotely from Bangkok, Thailand, where everything is significantly cheaper.
Oh, so Dan went to Bangkok, Thailand. All right. Yeah, making 6,000 in Bangkok, Thailand a month. You're basically the king over there. Might as well be the president or the prime minister of Thailand at that point. 6,000 a month. Oh my gosh, in Thailand.
He leverages geographic arbitrage, which means to earn in the euros and transact in a weaker currency. The high costs, cold weather, and housing pressure of the Netherlands simply don't make sense anymore. I mean, when you look at the numbers, everything makes a lot more sense. A one-bedroom apartment in Amsterdam costs around 2,000 euros a month, whereas in Bangkok, Thailand, you can get the same thing or even better for just 700 euros a month. That alone can save Dan over 15,000 euros.
I don't think that's right. The 700 a month in Thailand, like I live close to Thailand. I'm not in Thailand, but I live close. You can get nice one bedrooms for like $300 to $400 where I live, and it's right next to Thailand. $700 a month is a lot, but a one bedroom in the Netherlands for $2,000 a month, is that that's crazy. But I mean, if Dan's making, what did he say, 6,000 a month, he should be okay.
For just 700 euros a month. That alone can save Dan over 15,000 euros per year, and that's not even factoring other living costs like utilities and bills. And Dan isn't alone. Across the Netherlands, young professionals are asking the same question. Why continue to stay in a country where everything costs more and offers less? And that brings me to the final character in the story. We now have Nick.
All right, I think Nick's gonna be the good one. I think Nick gonna have a job where he makes double that Dan makes, and he's got a family and kids, and he's running to be the new prime minister of the Netherlands. Do they have prime ministers or is it presidents? I don't know.
A multi-millionaire with an
here we go.
investment portfolio worth over 5 million euros.
Yeah,
But the
boy
uncomfortable part about living in the Netherlands isn't the cost, it's the taxes.
Ah.
Every year, Nick is paying
Damn, we had a good one, but the taxes got him. Shit. Oh my god.
taxes on his business profits, and he's pretty much paying almost half of his income to the Dutch tax authorities. But for investors, it doesn't stop there. Starting in January 2028, Dutch residents will be expected to pay 36% on paper profits, including stocks, ETFs, and crypto, even if they never sell a single asset. Let's say Nick's 5 million stock portfolio goes up by 200,000 euros in a single year. Well, he'll owe the government 72,000 euros.
Wow.
He hasn't sold anything yet because the purpose of investing is to buy, hold, and compound. Yet still, every year he's paying 36% on profits he's never even made. On top of all the
Dude, that's crazy. You don't even actually have the money, but you have to pay
tax he's already paid. Now you might be thinking, if he hasn't sold anything, Then where does the money to pay the tax even come from? Well, in this case, he would have to sell part of his investment portfolio, which now becomes a realized gain, triggering even more tax, or he would have to fund some of the tax out of his own pocket. For investors, this is extremely annoying, and your options are either to A, pay up and accept the drag on your compounding returns, B, rebalance your portfolio, which will slow down your long-term investment returns, or C, explore shifting your tax residency outside of the Netherlands to places that don't tax your unrealized gains at all. Now, as of March 2026, there has been a U-turn on this unrealized tax reform, but it does show you what they were planning to do and the direction that Netherlands is headed down. Netherlands has seen one of the largest wealth exodus of Dutch millionaires fleeing the country. But where on earth are they going? Now,
And that happens to a lot of places. Like, people left New York, people left California, because when the taxes are just now basically stealing from you, they're just going to leave.
taxes are your main priority, one of the most popular options is to move your tax residency over to the UAE. Now, there's no need to uproot your entire life over there. In many cases, you can qualify.
Brother, listen, brother, come to UAE, brother. We will treat you good, brother. No tax here, brother. Come, listen. Look, listen, come, brother.
For UAE tax residency by spending only 90 days per year in the country, depending on your setup and documentation. But understandably, many of you may not want to move to UAE, and it isn't your only option for lower taxes. And there are many options within Europe that you might want to consider. For example, in Hungary, it has a flat 15% personal income tax and a 9% corporation tax on your business profits. Romania has a flat 10% tax, and Bulgaria also has a flat 10% personal income tax. You've also got countries with special regimes like Cyprus. Now, Cyprus has a non-dom framework where new residents can legally reduce tax on certain types of passive income, and in many cases, foreign dividends and interest can be tax-free, allowing you to continue your long-term investments and compound without the same level of friction you'll find in the Netherlands. If we look outside of Europe and go to Latin America, Panama and Paraguay operate on a territorial style taxation system, which generally means that your foreign source income is not taxed locally. These options are also far more affordable than the Netherlands, which allows you to live a high quality of life for a fraction of the cost, whilst keeping most of your foreign source income completely tax-free. Buying foreign real estate or securing a second passport can give you residency rights and sometimes potential citizenship to be used as a plan B in case you're not quite ready to leave. The Netherlands, like most of Western Europe, faces a dystopian future. With every stage of the social hierarchy, people feel like they're being punished. The working class can't afford housing, can't build anything meaningful without being crushed by rising costs. The middle class are slowly being squeezed through the silent tax of inflation, higher rent prices and energy bills. And the Dutch wealthiest are being taxed on income they don't even realize or on gains they haven't even cashed out yet. And if this exodus continues, we could find the Netherlands becomes a relic of a once prosperous past. A country that looks rich on paper, but feels unlivable in reality. So that leaves me with just one final question. Will the Netherlands have time to rebuild itself and offer a better future for its residents and citizens? Or will the Netherlands continue to regress, decline, and slip away into the shadows? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. It's Nathan, I hope you enjoyed that mini documentary. If you did, leave a massive thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in options outside of Western countries.
Damn, well, I guess their taxes suck. Well, he didn't get into it, but I don't know. What I saw online were some pretty satanic policies when it comes to, what was it? I think it was about giving birth and abortions. It was some crazy laws, dude. But yeah, he didn't get into it here. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.